in this episode, nothing really all that much happens. I mean, there's things that go on, but the story doesn't really necessarily progress at all, in my opinion. Now, we do get introduced to one of the most famous characters in Tolkien's Legendarium, Tom Bombadil, and they pretty much ripping him from the Fellowship of the Ring and shoving him into this, and it kind of works. It's okay. It's kind of sloppily done. In the Fellowship of the Ring book, we have the old man Willow. Well, now in this one, we have old man Ironwood. So they're just pretty much ripping characters and aspects from Tom's story and shoving it into this episode, and it's fine. I'm just like, can you guys be so creative, bankrupt, that you're literally having to rip line by line and character interactions from the books for your TV show? Wait, stop it. This is the Lord of the Rings. Rings of Power, so of course they are that creative bankrupt. Now, not Gandalf is the one who meets Tom Bombadil, and it's fun. I like Tom. I wish we would got someone to better sing Goldberry's lines. Like, she doesn't do a horrible job, but I've always thought Goldberry having this more angelic voice to Tom's more earthy, grounded voice, just more of the dichotomy that really resonate with each other, and we don't really get that in this episode. Now, to be fair, we never actually get to meet Goldberry, which is kind of weird because you think that she'd be there with Tom Bombadil, but he's trying to hide, or at least not tell not Gandalf that she's there, or maybe they haven't even met yet. But I always thought at this point Tom Bombadil and Goldberry had been together for quite some time, but maybe I'm wrong in the Legendarium. As I said, I'm not the biggest Tolkien scholar. I'm a Tolkien fan that likes to consume Tolkien content, but I'm going to be honest with you, I do not know the ins and outs of Tolkien lore as well as everybody else does, so I'm just going to state that right here just to be fair. But I thought this interaction was fine, but it was just cheap and just a knockoff. Now, if this was the only one in this episode, maybe I could give it a little bit more grace, but they do this again with the Barrow-wights. They literally are ripping the Barrow-wights and shoving them into the story with Galadriel and Elrond. Now, Galadriel is still her perpetual self, always seeing herself as a victim, not being very grateful, just acting as a child towards Elrond. It was just getting really annoying. She's just really ungrateful for everything that's happening around her, but she still thinks that she's in the right, that she's the know-it-all, even though Elrond is trying to do his best to lead the company to Celebrimbor, and even though he doesn't trust the ring, he still cares for Galadriel, but she just doesn't seem to really see that aspect to Elrond. So it's a whole drama thing that I don't really care too much about. But my issue with them is the Barrow-wights. Now, the Barrow-wights, if you don't know what they are wraith-like creatures that came down to the Barrows and inhabited some undead people. Now, these specific Barrow-wights, the issue that I have with them, if you know a little bit about the lore, you know that these Barrow-wights are from the war with the Witch King of Angmar. Now, why do we call him the Witch King of Angmar? We never see that in the Lord of the Rings films. From what we know, the Witch King is controlling Minas Morgul. So why do we call him the Witch King of Angmar? Well, Angmar was a northern kingdom that the Witch King controlled, that he used to raid the Lord Kingdom of Arnor. Now, I think at the time of his invasions, I think the Kingdom of Arnor had been split up into three, and unfortunately I don't remember the name, but I'll put a map right here. And from my understanding, the Witch King of Angmar was able to destroy two of the three kingdoms, but thankfully the elves and Gondor had come to their aid and vanquished the Witch King and his armies, thus forcing him to go back to Mordor. Now, the people who fought in this war were buried with their weapons that were specifically made to fight against the Witch King and his forces, which were more wraith-like, I presume, which is why when Pippin was able to, sorry, it wasn't Pippin, it was Merry who was able to stab the Witch King. It broke the magical protection around him as a wraith, which then allowed Arwen to go forth and kill him. So it was kind of a duality there in that part. The reason why I bring that up is that there was a lot of history that went into those blades that told the story of why they were able to hurt wraiths and then kill wraiths. In this story, our understanding of why they were able to kill these Barrow-wights is just the fact that these weapons were buried with the soldiers. It wasn't that they were specifically designed to kill wraiths. It wasn't that there's a long history that was enchanted on them. It's just that these men were buried with their weapons, and since they were buried with their weapons, they were able to kill their owners. Like, If that's the case, then why doesn't everyone just get buried with a knife just in case that they turn into a wraith so your loved ones can take out the knife and stab the wraith like creatures that inhabit your lover's bones? I just would like a little more thought and maybe creativity in that. And you know, if they had just said that these are wraith-like creatures created by Sauron, okay, fine, we can leave it at that. You could just call them the Whites or just some ghouls of some sort. But if you're using the Barrow Wights that have specific history, that have specific meaning in Tolkien's lore, I'm just gonna be like, go and call it your BS right there. And that's not necessarily the last thing they do in this episode. No, you can't just have it at one point. You have to bring another aspect of Tolkien Legendarium into this. You have to go and bring the nameless things into this. See, the nameless things are the Watcher in the Dark, the creature that was outside of Moria, where the Fellowship were outside and trying to enter in through the Dwarven Elfren gate. That creature that comes up and almost gets Frodo and Merry and Pippin and almost drags them to their deaths, that is a nameless thing that it lives at the root of the world underneath mountains that carve out tunnels, and that Gandalf was so terrified of them, he did not speak of them to the rest of his party. These creatures are supposed to be extremely deep down into the center of the earth, and yet somehow one has gone to the surface and is in a swamp that's just able to go ahead and go around eating people. Now, I can understand if a couple other nameless things have escaped from the cracks of earth and are around the mountainsides. Okay, I can understand that. But this creature is literally in the middle of a swamp. Like, what the heck is it doing there? It should not be able to exist there at this point in time. If you have them by a mountain range, okay, maybe I can understand that. But the nameless things are supposed to be locked away underneath the ground. And my understanding is that the Watcher in the Dark was one of very few creatures that have escaped from the roots of the mountain. Maybe I'm wrong. If you guys can tell me that Tolkien said otherwise, I'd greatly appreciate it. But my understanding from the lore is that these creatures have not been able to escape from their dwellings down underneath the mountains, and I don't even know if they would want to at this point. So just seeing that they just brought a nameless thing for no real reason for non-Don Lemon and Elendil and Ardar's wench. I'm not even sure what her name is, but I'm just going to call her that because they discover who she is in the episode. And it's a little dramatic, but it doesn't really matter to me. It's just like, I don't care. So that whole scenario goes on there. Eventually, we then move past them killing this nameless thing. They then find the boy that they're looking for. I think his name was Theon, and he was the son of the girl that Don Lemon wanted to bang. But since she's dead now, and he's found him and saved him, Don Lemon has decided that it's time for him to go forth and go try to find what this orc army is going, because he comes across one as they're searching for Theon. Now, Elendil and his whole thing with the Adar wench, we don't really know what's going to happen there. Does he stay with her? Does he go back to Numenor? Does he decide to go with non-Don Lemon? We don't know in this episode, so hopefully we get some clarification as the story goes on. But as of this moment, we don't really know what happens to them. So that kind of wraps up that storyline, what we're hearing there. Now from here, let's also talk about the last bit, the Harfoots. And as I say all the time, the Harfoots are the worst parts of the episodes. Like, it doesn't matter what episode we're talking about, it's just bad. They don't really add anything of value. Female Sam and female Frodo are just so annoying, in my opinion. The only thing that happens in this is that we now get learned that there are more Harfoots, that the female Sam and female Frodo come across a boy that's lugging water from the well that they had just come from, and he's quickly trying to make his escape before anyone notices him. They force him to bring him to their village, which he acquiesces to. He gives them a list of rules, but female Sam and female Frodo just completely ignore him because, females don't need to listen to males in any way, shape, or form in this universe. And when they get to the village, they then tell him that, oh, yeah, we're just looking for a friend, a tall fellow. And they're like, is he an elf? No. Oh, he must be like a grand elf. And that's what I was talking about before. Just like, really? You're doing it so on the nose that you almost punch me in the face at this point. Like, can't you just say it's Gandalf, but you can't because you don't have the rights to him. Otherwise, you'll probably get sued up the wazoo, or you have to pay a massive fine to the Tolkien estate or to Warner Bros. To use that name. So we're still left in the dark exactly who this is, but we all know that this is Gandalf in the end. Now, as far as I can tell, these Harfoots, they've been living here for a very long time, and they apparently have a legend of some other Harfoots going off, wandering around, looking for the Shire. They don't call it the Shire, but that's pretty much what they're looking for. And they're like, are you the ones that come back to lead us to the Promised Land? So pretty much another Moses allegory going on here. But they then admit that they are not. Now, they do almost throw out female Sam, female Frodo when they learn that they were looking for a wizard, but they decided to hold on to them because they have nowhere else to go. Now, the reason why they're about to throw him out is because of the dark wizard that's in the area and that those Harfoots are very afraid of him, but they still decide to hold on to these female Sam, female Frodo because they felt bad that they didn't have anywhere else to go. Now, at that exact same time, the dark wizard guys show up demanding they turn over female Sam and female Frodo, and they push their elder down to the ground. And that's about it. They don't start tearing through the village with a force of men. They don't start seizing people. They just look around like, is he here? No. Okay, let's leave. Like, really? That's all you're going to do? That's all the search you're going to do of this village that you suspect to be harboring the two female Harfoots that you're looking for? Okay. Excellent, guys. Well done. Gotta give you some claps here. This whole episode is just kind of a blah. I mean, it's all relatively meaningless and nonsensical at the end. I mean, the last part here is Galadriel sacrificing herself to save Elrond and the Elven group. Now, I don't really understand why she has to do this. Why don't you just get on your horses and ride back to the King Gil-galad and let him know that orcs are going to be attacking Lord Celebrimbor? Instead, you have to sacrifice yourself for some reason. Also, why don't you have horses? Like, why are you just running on foot? Like, I get, yes, elves have endurance, and you want to be reminiscent of people traveling by foot, but you don't have to. Like, this whole mission was for speed and quickness, and yet you're traveling by foot for what reason again? Just doesn't make any sense to me. If someone could give me a good explanation why this is happening, I'd greatly appreciate it. And also, Elrond doesn't seem to appreciate Galadriel's sacrifice at all. Instead, he just says that she sacrificed herself to protect the ring that she gave to Elrond. Like, yes, but she also wanted to protect you guys. Like, show writers, I don't know. Like, you try to give Galadriel a sacrificial play, and then you try to make Elrond look bad, but in my opinion, it's just meaningless. But I want to hear what you guys gotta say. What do you think of this episode? Do you think this is as much of a tangled mess as I thought? I look forward to hear what you guys thought down below. Leave a like if you like, leave a dislike if you did, and I look forward to hearing you guys later. Catch you later. Bye.